Good morning to everybody. First of all, thank you very much also for the invitation. Secondly, to say that I'm in full agreement with what Philippe has just said. In a way, you know, when I heard this morning that there is a lot of differences between the Commission and the EEAS, that reminds me of that well-known story when Mark Twain, still alive, saw the notice of his death in the newspaper. And he said, well, this is grossly exaggerated. So I would say the same, in a way, because I work hand in hand with Philippe, and not only that, I mean, the Commission and the EEAS have working procedures, working arrangements, where it's clearly the role of each one is established, as well as we've been working within the Commission team in the proposals for the next financial cycle related with the financial instruments for 2014-2020. Now, I'll do the same as my predecessors as speakers, which is not taking care of my notes and trying more to comment on what I heard today. It's clear-cut that the model is not perfect. And you have raised some very important points that needed to be addressed. We have also an inner conviction that things can be done better, or at least differently and hopefully better. We will only know when models are implemented. And that's why we have started an internal discussion, for the time being, to see what we could do in terms of redefining the priorities of the joint Africa-EU strategy, redefining its implementation model. We have not yet gone to the point where we have a consolidated version between institutions and the EU member states, in order that then we can start having this process of reflections together with our African partners and our colleagues from the African Union, the RECs, and other African stakeholders. By the same token, we also understood the need to give some financial support to what you're doing at continental level. And that's why there's also a proposal by the Commission, endorsed by the EEAS, that is still under discussion with our own member states on the possibility of creating a continental envelope, a Pan-African envelope that would give some clout and would allow us to avoid some of the fragmentation that Philippe has just mentioned. But in all fairness, is everything wrong? Is everything going badly in terms of peace and security, since this is the item that we are discussing over here? I would like to add a few elements, a few snippets that perhaps there are things that are taking place, especially in peace and security, which is considered to be the jewel of the crown. I mean, the partnership that is working properly. Now, we can see it from different angles. We can say, well, there's fragmentation because there are too many layers. Or we can say there's a multiplicity of dialogue channels. And I would say in peace and security, what we have is not so bad. Because we have, first of all, a financial support to the African Peace Facility, as it was explained. We have the dialogue by the IJEGs and the Joint Expert Group. But we also have, for instance, the PSC to PSC that nobody ever raised today. We just had a dialogue, what, 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, where the African PSC came to meet the European PSC. And this is very important because the dialogue allows us to identify crises, allows us to share opinions, allow us to build bridges, because it is absolutely legitimate that we have differences of opinion, like the ones that were raised in Cote d'Ivoire and Libya. The fact that we are able to dialogue is what is important, not that we have to agree on everything, because there are, and again, legitimate differences of opinion. But at least we are exchanging information and we are exchanging opinions, and we're trying to build compromises on these differences of opinion. Then we have also the possibility through the Joint Coordination Committee of associating other stakeholders to this political dialogue. That's what we do, where the RECs participate very strongly. And if you look at all the problems that we have in Africa and all the needs that we need to address, and we look at peace and security, I mean, we're providing a very important contribution in operations like AMISOM, like MICOPAX, probably in Mali and Guinea-Bissau in the very near future, who knows, supporting the mediation of former President Mbeki on Sudan, supporting what the African Union is doing in trying to fight LRA. This is what we do on an immediate, to immediate events. But at the same time, we're trying also to address structural problems. That's what we do with our money program. the cycle, the Amani Africa 2 cycle. That's what we do through supporting the liaison offices of the RECs to the African Union, which has actually produced much better results than, you know, that's another stereotype. Things between African Union and the RECs are not going well. Agreed, they could be better, but they were worse previously. And the fact that the liaison offices exist, and they started to be only for peace and security, although now it's enlarged a little bit, is already a very good step in the right direction. The training centers was a slow-moving process, but it was a sustainable one, because when finally a proposal came from the African side, it was a proposal endorsed by the African Union and by the regions. So they did work together in order to come to us and make us a proposal for funding. So all in all, we are making progress. Can we adapt the structures in a way that this progress can be sufficiently to impress the wisdom of all the brains at this room and the outside? We hope so. That's what we're working for. Now, on the final aspect of the civil society. Now, civil society, for instance, for the IGEC Peace and Security that I shared, they're always invited. I would welcome that they would be more active there. On this discussion I just mentioned within the European zone on the future of the JICE, they were all also consulted when we started the process, and once we have a more consolidated version of what we're going to propose to the African side, we'll come back to them to explain to them what we have in mind and what they can contribute to it. But I agree that this is where we need to do better in terms of involving more people. And I do agree on the communication issue. That's a part of the strategy, or part of all this exercise where we have not been as strong as perhaps we should have been, because in some cases we're not been able to pass the message, and we have not touched the man in the street. I mean, we go to Botswana, or you go to Hungary, and just mention 2 countries, I don't think no one knows or ever heard about the JICE. So we have to do better that. We have to do it at the level of decision makers, but also at the level of the people, because this, as it was said, it was a people-centered approach. And I see an Italian watch that is slightly more flexible than a Swiss watch telling me that it's time to stop. Thank you very much.